obviously winning 3-0 today against Sevilla. The match literally just ended a couple minutes ago here. And
A couple
I'll
of
pass
minutes
this one
ago.
off to you once again as a Madrid fan. Obviously, now as a result of this, you fall 8 points behind Barcelona in that Liga title race. We'll talk about that Liga title race specifically after this. But what is your initial reaction to Barca getting this win?
This is something that I've always been somewhat jealous of Barca for. That they've always been a better league team than us in recent memory. Not all time, because obviously, early Madrid, but in recent memory, they've always been very good in the league because they can always show up to games like this, like random off days in Sevilla or even in Mallorca, or they can play up to the level they need to play to beat these lower level teams. They've always been great at that. Madrid, on the other side, have not always been the greatest team in the league just because they can not always play, bring it up to play these type of teams. And, Barca are playing well. I mean, they've caught fire. I mean, after the World Cup break, they just decided, you know what? I mean, after there's fans that wanted Xavi sacked. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it there wasn't that long ago where that
It
was a
wasn't.
thing that people that they were calling for Xavi's head. But it looks
Just
like
a few
they
months
finally
ago.
been able to figure. Yeah, I mean, they figured it out. I mean, Gavi and Pedri are playing great. Lewandowski's back. Rafinha actually had a good game today.
He did.
It
Very
took
good
so
game.
damn long. He finally played good. And I mean, Jordi Alba was able to score. I mean,
He
I
took
mean,
back the
oh
clock
my
today.
god! I mean, everything's going good for them right now, and you know, I can't deny that they're playing well, and they might beat us in a couple of the rounds. I mean, literally, I don't know what's going to
Wouldn't be
happen with our
surprised at the
team so
moment.
ravaged. Wouldn't be very surprised, but you know, I do have to give Barca the props. They're a great league team. They're very good. When Barca are what they're up to their standard, they're very difficult to beat in the league because like a Man City, they're almost just so accustomed to buckling down for the league. The only shit where they get caught up is in big games, like in Europe. I mean, I don't know even how that happens because now you look at this team, you're like, how did this team ever not even qualify for the round of 16?
Yeah.
But that's back in the past. If they were still in the Champions League, I mean, there'd be talks that people would be looking at them as favorites. But
Yeah. But they're
they're
not. They're
that
Europa League favorites now.
they're Europa League favorites now. But they're a great league team. I think that's what has to be lighted on right now. They're performing very well, and there's not really much else I could say about it.
Yeah. I mean, look, for me, being able to take in this match, I was utterly impressed because in that first half, I saw a team that was very difficult to break down in Sevilla. And I knew, even though Sevilla, compared to their standards, have not been very good this season, you cannot deny that this was going to
They've
be a
been pretty
tough game for
poor. I think
Barca.
they're 14th.
It's obviously Sevilla is very accustomed to being higher in the
Yeah.
league, but I still knew this was going to be a tough game for Barcelona, and that's exactly what it was in the first half. It was 0-0 at halftime, and I was like, this is the type of game that champions win. They find a way to win these types of games where it's not quite going for you in the first half. Sevilla, very difficult to break down, but you need to find a way, and that's exactly what they did. They found a way to break through, and ultimately, I give all the credit in the world to Xavi because I don't know what he told them at halftime, but it was an utterly magisterial second half performance. I mean, this was Barcelona. It looked like prime Barcelona. And I mean, one thing about Xavi's Barcelona, when Xavi first came to Barcelona, I expected Barcelona to almost bring back that Pep Guardiola style of football. And I'm not saying they don't play like that, but one thing I didn't expect was their defense to be completely and utterly transformed. Barcelona's defense is so strong. It is so difficult to break down. They've only conceded 7 goals in La Liga this season. 7 goals in La Liga. That is an utterly unbelievable defensive record. And I think 3 of them came in El Clasico when they played Real Madrid.
Yeah.
So that just goes to
Yeah.
show how good they have been defensively against pretty much everybody else. And with an 8-point gap, it's looking very, very good for them to win La Liga. But this was a completely and utterly dominant performance, especially in the second half. And I was honestly getting ready to come on here and say Rafinha might be getting sold in the summer because he was playing shit. But then that
He
second half,
was.
he turned it up. And if Rafinha can keep playing like this with the injury to Ousmane Dembele, they're going to need him to. This Barca team is not looking like they have many weaknesses at the moment. Lewandowski's back. He played well, even though he wasn't able to get a goal. Pedri and Gavi, they do what they do. And one guy who I wanted to give him credit to was Kessie, because he hasn't always been getting a lot of game time for Barca since joining from Milan on a free. Busquets got injured, and he filled in perfectly. He got a utterly gorgeous, beautiful assist to Jordi Alba for that opening goal. It was literally, it looked like a Xavi pass for a second. He flicked it, and then Alba was
So
able to go and
Xavi.
finish. It was a brilliant pass. And honestly, I mean, I wouldn't have expected Kessie to be able to do that. But it looks like Busquets' injury may be longer than Barca fans would like, with potentially 2 to 3 to 4 weeks. And if that's the case, they're going to need Kessie to continue to play like that. And if he does, they won't necessarily miss Busquets as much as people might think they would. So overall, I come away from this performance thinking this is what champions do, and we're going to get into that in a second here. But I think Barca, they're on a very good course to win La Liga now.
I mean, when you look at Barca's 11 right now, they're dealing with some injuries. Like you said, Busquets just went down, but they're also missing Dembele, and they were still
Yeah,
able to perform very well without arguably their second to third best player.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly. But that
I'll probably say three behind Ter Stegen.
But that goes to show the difference between right now, in my opinion, Barca and Real Madrid. Because if both teams are healthy, I think Real Madrid has a better starting 11 if both teams are fully fit. But Barca have very good depth. Ousmane Dembele gets injured, and they have Rafinha to put right in. And even though Rafinha hasn't been on good form, he has the quality in him. And Xavi stuck with them. He stuck with them through his bad form, and he proved himself right today. He proved why maybe he's going to continue to play, and maybe even when Dembele gets back, proved why he should, continue to get game time. I mean, I wouldn't start him over Dembele, but he needs to still get game time. And
Yeah,
that's the main
because I
difference
mean,
right now. Depth.
Rafinha is a guy that could play on both sides of the wing. He could play left, he could play right. So yeah, he can get in the team even when Dembele is there. But even when you look at this 11, they're playing Gavi at left wing. I mean, they're playing Koundé at right back. Like these players can play, kind of anywhere, just because Barca right now are just playing a better system of football. I mean, if they're somehow making it work with Gavi at left wing, and like I said, Koundé right back, they're doing spectacular, as if those guys are meant to play those positions. Unlike a Real Madrid, if we put Militao right back, it's the end of the world. I mean, I swear to God, I've never seen a man in boots be this bad. And we play obviously Rodrigo as center forward, and it's the worst thing ever. So it mostly, maybe it's just one of those things that Ancelotti is trying. His system really relies more on the players that we have when they're fit. But Xavi's system, it can be, it has so many guys that they can make it work. Like Gavi is a kid that can play really realistically. You put him at the left wing, he's going to do what he needs to do in this system, which is hold the ball, pass the ball, and, play this more, possession style ball.
Yeah.
Unlike, Koundé has become very well, but unlike Militao, like our right backs, we rely on our right backs to be involved in the attack, be able to have a good touch on the ball and advance play. Militao is the opposite of that. He cannot do any of that. So
he's a very solid center back, a very good defender, but
he's a good really center back. But a right back, my God, he's fucking like a lamb on skates when he's out there. But